Okay, let's draw. So I got asked to make a video of how I do sketches or how I start my drawings. So I thought I'm going to show you this. And I really wanted to draw some Cookie Run characters because, as you might know, I really love Cookie Run characters and I love drawing them. So yeah, as you can see, I start with a circle. I think that's what everyone does. And then I add kind of a trapezoid form, or however it's called. Then a little stick where the belly would be, more or less, and the hip part. Since I'm not doing full body, I don't have to really flesh that part out. So for the hands, I found out that it's so much easier to draw first where you want the hands to be and then add the arms. Always keep in mind that the forearm and the upper part of the arm are more or less the same length. So you can just draw 2 lines that connect to the arms that you have already placed. So you can make sure that they're more or less the same size. For the other arm, since it's behind, I found out that it's so much easier, instead of making 2 lines, a curved line. So more or less on the lowest part of the curve would be the elbow, and you can already use the curve as the shape of the arm. So a shape for the arms, you can use these kind of tube shapes that are thin on one end than on the other. Something like this. So you just have to think of it like 2 tubes. So one tube would be here, and the other tube is like here. I don't make the head much bigger than the circle, but if you want to create like different shapes of faces and stuff, then you can make the head longer or like the jaw bigger or whatever you want to draw. So as I said, since the character is wearing like this dress, I'm not going to focus on figuring out the leg part, but it's always good to know where the legs would go. So also for the face, when you make the circle, then you can draw this cross in the middle of the face to know in which direction the face is looking. Like here are some examples. I mostly just draw them looking like slightly to the left or to the right, because that's the easiest. So once you have all the details that you want to sketch out, like it doesn't have to be super detailed and super perfect, but once that is done, I like to take the liquefying tool and just move everything around till I'm happy with the result. Also make sure to flip your canvas so you see errors easier. So once that is done, you can work on the outlines. Lately I've been using the watercolor reel brush because I think it gives a nice texture. For doodles like this, I use a much thicker line than in my normal drawings. Like here I have the brush at around 10, and normally I will have it at 7 or so. So what I think can make your drawing look much more interesting is adding some details, like seams and stitch lines or buttons or whatever you can think of. Adding some gaps between some of the strands, like here, can make your hair look much more alive and interesting, and they're a lot of fun to draw. So once the outline is done, I will remove the sketch and then clean up some of the lines and just add more details wherever I think it's fitting. Especially wherever some lines cross or touch, you can make some of the lines thicker so to give it more variety. So for coloring, I will just pick and choose the colors of the reference image, but then change it up a bit so it's more fitting to my style, as I usually use much paler colors. Also, what I've been doing lately is setting my outline layer to multiply. It doesn't work really well with the black, that's why I changed the black later. But usually when you use dark colors, it's easier to see the outlines that way. I will always duplicate the outline layer and set it to multiply, but well, since it's already on multiply, I don't have to change that. But then I go to Gaussian blur and blur it at around 20 or something like that. If it's still too blurry, I will lower the opacity a little bit. So now for the shading. Since this is just a doodle, I just use this purplish color and I think I just do one shadow layer, maybe two. Also, if some parts are a bit messier, I want to fix them. Lately I've been adding some contrast color to the shadows, like you see here, but I'm still working on this. And on this drawing I settled on this pink, but I'm not sure if it works so well. Now to lazily color the outlines. First of all, I hide the outline layer, then I duplicate from canvas, then I clip this duplicated layer to the outlines and just play around with the saturation and lightness. Here I just play around a little bit more with the shading and trying to add a little bit more colors. Also adding a little bit of color to the eye. Looks a bit creepy, not gonna lie. And of course adding sparkles and highlights. So now again a duplicate layer with everything and set this layer to lighten, and then again I just play around with the saturation, lightness and hue. And of course blurring again. This will make all the colors pop a lot more. Sometimes this is one of my favorite steps, but sometimes it can be frustrating as well. I think this time it didn't work out so good. Also, I erased the part where the black color is, since it lightened up the black color and I don't want this. Here I just play around with the colors and see if I can make things look better. Or add some colors, change it a bit, and also add some hair strands. So here again, one of the most important parts for me. I will copy everything on one layer so I can use the liquifying tool to move things around so they look better. I'll also flip the canvas again. So here I'm just adding these squiggly lines to represent like lace. First I did it with the pen heart, but I think with the watercolor brush it looks softer and fits more with the rest of the drawing. I'm not sure if it really works out so good. Okay, so this is one character down. Let's do another one. So I'm not gonna spend another 10 minutes on this one, don't you worry. But I'm just showing you another example of how I do doodles. So as you can see for the arm, again I just did a curve. And then I just add details to the sketch. And immediately start with the outlines. When I do regular drawings I usually make another sketch layer, but since this is a doodle, it's okay if there are some errors. So this character is called Cherry Cookie. And I always wanted to draw her. She looks so cute and reminds me of Little Red Riding Hood, but with bombs. And again with the hair, like leaving gaps between some of the strands, so to make them look more fluffy. And I really like just drawing like this black eyes. I think they look really cute. Even though later I color the eyes in, like I did with the last drawing. Also I added this grid to the background, just for fun. But I think that can help to, like if you want to put a character inside the box, then you have a guide that you can follow. Here again, just the coloring. Again, I pick the colors from the character, but then change it a little bit so it looks paler and less saturated. And here the shading again. Like in the last drawing, I tried to add like different colors in the shading. First I used this brownish color, but then I changed here to pink. But I think later I will choose a more purple one. And well, for the darker colors I chose a darker color to shade because this pinkish peach color was way too light. Here again, blurring and coloring the outlines and duplicating them. And yeah, here shading a little bit the cherry bomb. And in this I think I played a little bit more around with highlights and highlight layers. And yeah, just adding a little bit more detail. And here coloring everything with a lighten layer. Again, I didn't think it worked so well with this one, since it's mostly pinkish red, so there's not much of a difference. Here adding a little spark to the fuse of the cherry bomb. And yeah, here I decided to add a little speech bubble of one of the things this cookie says in Cookie Run. I don't know why I did this, just for fun, I guess. And that's it for this character. Okay, let's do one more. So for the last one, I decided to do a full body drawing. I never do full body drawings because they are hard, so I should probably draw them more so I get better at it, but I'm also very lazy. Anyways, for full body, I will draw, like, I think it's the easiest to start very small, to make like just a small stick figure of more or less the pose you want to do. And then you can enlarge it and add more details. As I knew that I wanted to draw the character with his hands in the pocket, I didn't even have to sketch out the arms or the hands. I just more or less drew the shape of the hoodie and the shape of the arms. So on this one I actually did do 2 sketches, since the first one was just the small, like a thumbnail that I enlarged, and now I draw over it and add much more details. And as always, using the liquifying tool and the transform tool to make everything look better. I sure love these tools. So again, I tried to add color to the shading, and I chose this green because I thought it would complement well with the purple, but I don't like it at all. And I really tried to fix it, but no, I just gave up. Also, I wanted to make the lolly transparent, so let me show you how I did this. First, I put the color layer of the lolly on top of everything, even on the outlines, and lowered the opacity. Then I just on top put another multiplying layer for the shadows. I think I changed the color later, yes. And I erased some parts of the shadow. Then again played around with the color to see what fits the best. Okay, now on top I put an add layer, but just to give it a little bit of glow effect. I really never know what works best with layer effects, which colors work the best on which layer effect. So here I'm just trying out things. Even though I wanted to be like a highlight layer, I really like reddish color, so I think I settled on that one. And then later just put another highlight layer on top. And for the transparent glassy effect, you can make a highlight around the outline, like it's reflecting the light. The lolly is really my favorite part of this drawing. I just kept adding and adding more. As you can see, I had fun drawing it. So now I'm just adding some more details to the drawing, and of course the highlights and sparkles. And yeah, then I'm more or less done with this one as well. Okay, so these are my 3 doodles of this 3 Cookie Run characters. Let me know which one you like the most. Also, again, I'm so sorry for not uploading again in such a long time. I really would love to make more videos, but as I'm also working, I don't have that much time. But I really hope this time it doesn't take another 2 months to make another video. Anyways, I started Patreon and Redbubble shop. If you want to check them out, I will leave the links in the description. but I'm just so thankful for your support and your messages. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.